Hello, Junior, and welcome to Gentleman's Caddy. So I was perusing the Spyderco forums the other day and came across the annual Discontinued list, or the annual Discode list as I like to say. And I came across the Spyderco Hanan, something I sold about a year ago or more ago when it first came out from Spyderco's catalog. And I was quite intrigued by the overall look of the knife and the recurve, which really drew you in. That was the first thing that you first saw on the knife. It's very aesthetically pleasing on the knife overall. However, one reason I didn't purchase it, I started seeing reviews in a negative way in regards to the overall knife itself. So that was quite unfortunate. And that's unfortunate for some knives. They just don't really ever have a chance out of the gate because they get bad reviews from the start. Usually from online reviewers, which it's you're watching it right now as an online review, whether you should buy one or not. And considering it is on the discontinued list, it is you're able to get a very deep discount on it. I was able to get this guy here for $144. So almost $100 discount from where it was on the on retail. So, and I generally think if you're intrigued by the overall design, that it may be a good deal to jump on, and you're more familiar, or you're more keen on the smaller knives. So overall, the overall package on this guy, it comes in at about just shy of 7 inches. Spyderco has it 6.88 inches on the spec sheet, and the closed length, the handle length, is almost 4 inches. They have a 3.88 inches, and the blade length here, we have about 3 1/8 inch blade length here. They have 3 inches, but it's coming out here looks like 3 1/8, slightly larger than 3 inches here. So a smaller package here, obviously in the 3-inch range, and I enjoy the smaller knives for many different reasons. So overall, so just to give you a size comparison here, if you're familiar with the Spyderco Paramilitary, which also has the compression lock that the Hanan has, and that was one of, I don't quote me on it, but I believe this knife, the Hanan, was the first flipper to have the compression lock on it as well. So the two combinations, and the combination of both, I should say, I don't believe is fitting, and I'll go over that in just a minute. But for size comparison purposes, you can see it's a small knife here, especially with comparing the Spyderco Squarehead, which comes in at an astonishing almost 3.5 inches. So it's a small guy. It is a smaller frame overall. It's also very slim in the pocket, which is very nice to carry. So you can see right here about less than 3/4 of an inch in certain areas. So around 3/4 of an inch in profile. So it's very nice to carry in the pocket. So we'll get these guys out. So you can see here, this is the compression lock on the Paramilitary 2, and there's no jimping here at all. This is all flush designed, and I don't believe it needs any jimping. I'm not sure why on the compression lock they decided to go with the jimping here. It just doesn't feel right when you first engage the flipper, and then your index finger falls off onto it, and it kind of, I've already started to sand my finger down with some finger dustings all over here. Not that I'm a pansy or anything, but it's just uncomfortable, especially on a smaller knife, and I just don't think it was warranted, considering that on the Paramilitary you don't see it here. So that's one of the gripes I have with this knife here. I don't think even when you're trying to engage it, the knife, the compression lock in there, you really need it. So let's get that out of the way. Let's get this guy out of the way. So, and it is closed. It's a very nice knife in profile, and when it's closed and when it's open, it's very nice, and it was very promising. You can see, it fits right there in the palm of your hand very nicely. And I should say, the pocket clip is fantastic. One of my favorite pocket clips to date from Spyderco. I hope they do indeed intend to incorporate this kind of a design on future knives. It is very nice. So back to the flipper compression lock combination. So you can see they're obviously very close in proximity, and when I go to engage the flipper, my finger ends up onto the jimping here of the compression lock. And what happens about half the time as I go to engage that, my finger, the fat of my finger, if you will, gets pinched in the area between the compression lock and the opening of both handles. So my finger kind of gets stuck in there for a second. It's just not very comfortable with that, plus the fact that there's this jimping here, and the fact that it's a smaller knife overall, which you have to, it's harder to engage with medium to larger hands. So I don't think in the future I like that combination. Perhaps if Spyderco decides to remove the jimping here from future designs on the compression lock, but overall I don't think the proximity between a flipper and the compression lock is something I particularly like, considering it engages, once the flipper here is engaged, your finger automatically ends up on that compression lock, and you end up squeezing your index finger in there. Perhaps that's why they ended up putting in a little indentation in here, as you can see here, to open that up slightly larger, because if there wasn't anything at all, you definitely would have an issue there, even more so. So perhaps it's just the jimping, perhaps it's just the fact that it's a smaller knife, but I would tend to think that this opening here is pretty much the same as it is here on the Paramilitary 2, as you can see. So very similar. This is slightly larger, but I just don't think that proximity works here. It just doesn't work, in my mind at least. Yeah, there it goes. It just, I don't like that feeling when it first engages. So I mean that right there kind of kills it for me. But overall, I mean, the knife itself is very, very nice aesthetically, and it does work ergonomically, except for the fact that it does need that finger choil. I feel as though I need to put my finger in here when I do pick this up. I want to put my finger in here. I find myself wanting to put my finger here. It could be just the fact that there's a recurve here, and if visually I want to put my finger there, and it just, in the hand, it feels as though I want to put my index finger forward of the flipper here. It could be this larger straight thumb ramp here as well that doesn't. But overall, though, on your hand, it does feel quite well. It does for a smaller knife as well, and considering it's actually slimmer in profile, so it actually is very nice ergonomically, except for the fact that I think it does need a finger choil. The thumb ramp works well. The jimping is very well done here. Very well done. As I said, all Taichung, Taiwan designed, or manufactured, I should say. So no sharp edges here, gentlemen. Everything's nicely smooth. Beautiful stone washing here on the blade. You can see here. Overall, the titanium, everything, the fit and finish between the G10 and titanium is absolutely flawless. You can see the back spacer there is also G10. The G10 overlays on both sides, symmetrically designed. So very beautiful knife, very high fit and finish level here. Another thing visually I don't particularly like is the fact that the Spyderco hole is not non-functional. It's just there aesthetically, just as a trademark, which I understand. I've seen it on other Spyderco knives. I've seen it on their fixed blades as well, just to indicate that it is indeed a Spyderco. I generally like to see something like that being a functional element of a design, but I'll give them a pass considering it is their trademark. And it is a smaller knife overall, and a flipper. So overall, it's not a terrible design. I really do enjoy the aesthetic of the knife. When you go to pick it up and when you go to engage the knife is a different story here. And I would caution Spyderco in the future, if you're going to do this kind of design, perhaps looking into into this junction, the combination of these two, the flipper and the compression lock, may not be the best padding. But that's my opinion, for whatever it's worth here. So overall, I mean, unfortunately, it got discontinued. It's a beautiful knife, has issues, but I really do hope that Spyderco takes another look at this guy and takes a look at a 2.0 on here, because I really do enjoy the small profile of this here knife. Very nice, slim profile, a small flipper. It's very well done. I mean, this would be a very nice gentleman's piece. You can see the G10 is done very well, very nicely. So there you have it. Spyderco Hanan is no more. Thank you for watching, Junior. Before you go, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and you'll be a real winner in my book. And you know what they say about winners? Winners go home and